What's going on, everybody? This is Gary B. Jr., your media consultant, and I am excited to talk to you today all about YoloCast. Now, what is YoloCast, you might ask? Well, it is a cloud-based multi-streaming platform that allows you to send your message throughout the world on multiple platforms at once. You can embed your live stream on your website with no ads. And you can even include a donation button right up under your video that sends people directly to the way that they can give if you have a ministry or an organization. This is a no-brainer. It's an unbelievable feature. And then also you can add your own branding. So you can add your logo instead of it being a YouTube platform. It's on your website. You put your logo on your website to show that this is your video. And then you also can edit your live streams afterwards. You can create customizable overlays. You can directly connect with OBS. Okay, so you use OBS to send the signal unless you have a YOLO box, which this company is the same company that makes YOLO box. And so it's seamlessly integrated with YOLO box. But if you don't have it, you still can use YoloCast using OBS. And then you also can do a simulated live rebroadcast, right? So you might have done your live stream, maybe you streamed your morning service, you can stream it again in the evening, just like it were live, and your audience that's watching it online wouldn't know the difference. All right. So why are we talking about YoloCast? Well, the truth is, I've been a YOLO box owner for almost a year now, and I use it to record my videos. I've used it for live streaming remotely and things like that, which is it's come in clutch for. But they reached out to me because they thought that their service could actually benefit you, those who are in my audience. And so they generously worked with me on a plan that we can do something that's in the spirit of FreeShow. Right. I love FreeShow because it's free. You all know that. Well, what YoloCast has done is they've agreed to allow me to give away 6 free annual plans to their YoloCast service to my audience. We'll be talking more about those details. We're going to do it once a month for the next 6 months, and it'll be given out during Free Show Friday. So stay tuned on Free Show Friday to find out more, to see if you're a winner. All right. And then if you hear these features and you see the video and you don't want to wait to figure out if you're going to win or not, you can definitely still jump in and get YoloCast with an affiliate link down below in this video. You can get 20% off on an annual plan of any annual plan they have, or you can get 20% off their business and pro plans if you choose to do a monthly plan. All right. So check them out. And I hope that you'll find some benefit in this video. If you're thinking about using a multi-stream service, I definitely would encourage you to check out the rest of the video, because in the nature of what I do, we're going to walk through in a tutorial style of how to set up YoloCast, how to integrate it with OBS, which in turn integrates with FreeShow, right? Now, one of the things I can say that stands out to me through this process of using YoloCast myself for the first time is they have an unbelievable support team. This is something you won't get with OBS. And so if you've been intimidated by using OBS alone, this group, this team, this company helped walk me through all the steps I need to take to make sure that my live streams are running seamlessly. So if that sounds like something that you want to do or want to have, make sure to pay attention to the rest of the video. And if you already are a YoloCast subscriber, this is a really good tutorial to help you understand how to use YoloCast with any overlays, with the video editing features and all those fun things, and also integrating it with OBS. So stay tuned and enjoy the rest of the show. All right, so this is how you would set up YoloCast, and then we're going to talk about how to set up OBS to make it work with YoloCast. And I'm going to go to my homepage here. All right, so I got a live events page. I've got settings here, and this is a business account. Let me double check just to make sure. So I'm in a business account, and it includes quite a bit of bandwidth, quite a bit of bonding service with it, and then also plenty of storage for your services and recorded things like that. All right. Now let's go into you got the embed, you got the live events, and so you can create a new live event pretty easily. But before you do that, you've got to set up where you want this live event to go. So I would start all the way down here at the bottom where it says destinations. And here you'll see that I've already tied in a Facebook account and a YouTube account. And all you would do is hit add platform, and then you would pick which platform. So you've got to choose from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and then any RTMP SRT. So you can hit that, and then it'll ask you for the platform name, and then it'll ask you for the type, and you'll put in your server URL and your stream key here. All right. If I cancel that and I do it again, you'll see the same. For YouTube, you would say authorized data. It tells you that it only allows it to be authorized for 30 days, and you have to uh, reinitiate this process. So you can say, okay, I know, start binding, and then it pops up and asks you what Gmail account do you want to use, and you would just log into that, and it'll automatically be tied to it. Okay, and let me go back. All right, I think I closed my window. Let me log back in. All right, so that's the first thing. You got to get some destinations, and this is where your live stream is going to end up. All right, so when you hit that, it shows you this is my account here for YouTube, and then I've got my account there for Facebook. Once you do that, now the question is, you know where you're going to send your signal to. Where is it going to come from? How are you going to get this signal to YoloCast? Right? You've already tied in your server URL, your stream URL, your stream key, and all that stuff from your destinations, from Facebook, from YouTube, usually by just logging in. That's the best way to do it with YouTube and Facebook. But if it's a separate RTMP, you can just put in that information, the server and the stream key. Now you got to determine where is it going to come from. I've got one here just called OBS. I've got one called RTMP. And then it's got options up here if you actually own one of their devices. So a YoloBox Extreme, a YoloBox Ultra, a Pro, or a YoloBox Mini. But you can also just hit add down here, and you can say add, and it'll ask you for the source name and then a description. All right. So it says username that will help you identify the encoder. So maybe you want to, I'm gonna call this one OBS FreeShow. All right. And then the description, I'll say FreeShow Friday. And this is just for your records for you to see. So I'll say add source. And all it does is it gives me access to a unique server URL and a stream key that I can paste into OBS. All right. So now I can go into OBS by copying this, paste it in, copy this, paste it in, and then I can create a live event. If I go into OBS and I actually start streaming, this little dot here will show up green, which I'll show you later on. It'll show up green to show you that that is actively streaming. And what actively streaming means is, hey, it's sending us a signal. It's sending YoloCast a signal. It doesn't mean that you've gone public. It just means that OBS is connected and talking to YoloCast. Your live to the public is going to come from YoloCast. So that's where you would have to create a live event and then go out to the public. All right. Until then, even if this is green, it doesn't mean that you're in the public. It just means that it's something that they're connected and they're talking accurately, which is great. All right. Now up here, just to reset on this page, so they got some default options. You can reschedule a live streaming by using a replay of an ended event. This is what I was talking about earlier, right? Where it's like a replay. And then you can also upload media. So you can create a live streaming by uploading or selecting a video from your media center. This is really cool. And it's something that you can basically you can do it with OBS if you're familiar enough with it. They've got a really clean layout to where it's easy for you to access and create your shows from pre-recorded content. All right. I would say it's a lot easier than what you would need to do in OBS if I didn't understand OBS very well. Okay. Now, you've got options here for your reports on the left. Now that you've set up your destination where you're sending your signal, and then you also know where you're sending it from, then you got reports here to show your past. And I've got some things here. I had some issues where I was trying to get this figured out. And then I've got a media center. And the media center here shows you all the past recordings that you've got that you've not deleted. And I've got pages of it. I've been working with trying to figure this out and testing things out and things like that for some time now. And I've made sure that I understand exactly what it does and how it does it. All right. And you can even upload videos to your media center here. As we talked about earlier, you can upload your own media. And then it's got some options for audios. This is for MP3s and WAV files and things like that. You also can add images. All right. So I've added a few images here. These were actually default. So some of these, like the wedding, the sports, the concert, the church, those are all just kind of default images that you can have that you can use as a thumbnail if you wanted to. And then you can even add PDF documents. This is a lot like what you would see if you had a YoloBox device, right? So with the YoloBox device, you can actually share images and PDFs and things like that, and you can play them directly from the YoloBox device. But here, you can display them from the YoloCast account. All right. You can even group them and put them in a certain group, like a category or a folder style. All right. And then you got your overlays. We've talked about this a little bit as well. I still recommend doing them in FreeShow and then connecting it through NDI to OBS. But if you want to, you can add an overlay that you created. These need to be a PNG so they can be transparent. So you need to make sure when you export it, maybe you're using Canva or Photoshop, make sure you're exporting it in a PNG with a transparent background. And that can show up here as well, which would be a little bit different than an image or document. These don't need to be PNGs. These are mostly used for like thumbnails and things like that. Whereas the overlays are something that you show up actively during your live stream. All right, that you can actually activate from here. All right. And then the fun part here, this is the embed and playlist section, right? So I know I'm working my way up. All right. So the embed and playlist, this is really cool because what it allows you to do is you can create a events embed, right? So an embed is a way that you can, like I said earlier, put it into your website and it looks like a seamless player, right? When you're looking at, for example, like Netflix or something like that, those videos are there and you feel like you're in the Netflix platform, which you really are. Well, on your website, you can make it be seamless like that as well, where it won't look like it's a YouTube video that's playing in the YouTube platform on your website. It just looks like it's your video from you on your website, which I think is a lot of benefit in that because it takes away all the advertising and things like that that you may not want to be tied with your service. All right. And then you got the option to choose events, and you would then choose your event that you've had, and or you can do media videos, right? And you can select videos that you've uploaded. Then you got the integration method that shows if you want to embed this as a JavaScript on your website or an inline frame on your website. And then there's this option for a link. And if we do events, you'll see that that link option comes up. And if you do an event, like I said, you can pick from your past events and you'll see here, I've got past events. You can even do upcoming events as well. You can put those into an embed, which is really helpful, right? But you got ways to display it next, the layout. So you can make it look like a full featured, um, almost like what you see in YouTube, where you got the player there, and then you got a little bit of information on the side here for the upcoming videos in the playlist and a description at the bottom. And then you can just do just the player plus the description where it just has the actual video and then a description of the video. And then it shows integration functions. If I hit that drop down, it shows you the customization that you would have. I can hit that one. It shows you what's included there. And then the player the same way. All right. So you can do all that. So let's see, we show viewer chat or show branding. You can do all those different things and vice versa. All right. And so those are all really cool options. And then responsive or fixed. This has to do with the size. Now, my recommendation for most people, is going to probably be to use the responsive layout because this allows it to be flexible for computers, tablets, and mobile devices. If you have a professional web editor or something like that, you may find a benefit in using the fixed and you have set in your width and your height yourself for it. But I always lead people towards using the responsive layout because so many people use the internet now on their cell phone or mobile device that setting it up as a fixed layout for a computer doesn't really work well for those mobile devices. And I'm just saying that because I've got experience building websites years ago, but my wife more recently is a web designer. And so that is something to keep in mind when you're actually exporting or getting this set up for your custom embed. And then you also can embed a playlist. All right. This is all for if you want to do one video. Okay. So you'll pick an event. Let's say you just had service. You can go in here and have this ready to show. Okay, you can choose the event and have it play and replay at that certain time that you want. As an embed, I should say, not even replay, just as an embed on your site for people to actually be able to play it themselves. And then you would copy the code. And you can even preview the embed. So let's do, if I said choose an event, and we'll do a past event. Let's see here. We'll select that one and I'll hit OK down here at the bottom. And it gives you the option to modify or delete it. And I'm going to say JavaScript and I want to keep it at responsive. And let's say preview the embed code. And I've got it set to be a full feature. And you'll see over here any comments if they come up, and then down at the bottom, the title, and then the details of the date that this was recorded. All right. This was August 11th. All right. Which was just a couple of days ago. And it shows you the resolution and all that kind of stuff. So this is the full playlist. So I say close preview. And so this over here has to do with comments. I said earlier that it had to do with upcoming videos in the playlist. I was thinking about the actual playlist embed. All right, so let's go back over here now to the playlist embed. And if I select, I've got one here called the YoloCast playlist test. When I select that, it gives you the opportunity to put the info in terms of the title. It's not a live event. And then also we got the option here for description. And then I got the embed options that are similar to what we saw before. Some of them are there, right? So you got the option to say JavaScript, inline frame, or a link. All right. And then if I go back to inline frame or JavaScript, you'll see that it has the options for the responsive or fixed layout, which we've talked about in depth. I would recommend keeping it at responsive. And then you got it set to where it can autoplay. Remember, this is going to be embedded on some website. And so if somebody goes to that page, you can set it to where when they get there, it automatically just starts playing by turning that on right there. And or instead of just start playing like you see there, it's just going in active. Or you can turn that off. And this is just a preview to show you exactly what it'll look like. And then you got this option that says continuous playback. And then you also have the option for loop playlist. All right. And those are all there. And all you would do is copy the code and then you would paste that into your website builder, right? Whatever your platform is that you're building your website on, and you'll be able to do that. And it'll be a playlist. And that playlist is interactive. Up here, you'll see the list of 1 of 7. And these are just 7 videos that I made, just different testing with video. I tested at 5 megabits per second. I tested H.264 and 4K and all these different things that I can't wait to talk to you guys about as we go through this walkthrough. But you'll have a playlist that's active like this that will be embedded on your website. And notice it doesn't have any YouTube advertising or anything like that. It is completely free of any advertising or anything along those lines. Even the logos and things can be distracting for some people and it'll lead them to another page. This keeps them directly dedicated to your website and they can see exactly how the service went or the meeting or the event without even experiencing distractions from elsewhere, from other competing videos or anything like that, except the ones that you've added to your playlist. And so they can see other ones. These might be past services. If it's an event like a basketball game or football game, you might have past games up here. So there's a lot of different flexibility, different options you can have with this particular feature. And this is the playlist embed. All right. So I can go back to general. You'll see the options there. I can add more events and I can even hit the preview, which is showing us what we got here. This is an idea of what it would look like for the playlist, and you can select them and start different videos from there. Now my videos kind of all look the same. I got on different clothes, which is kind of cool. I don't know if this one's going to be a different day or not, but yep, different day. So all these are different and you can see the different days. All right. So now I can close the preview and you can also add more events if you wanted to as well. All right. I'm trying to see if there's anything I left out. You can also password protect. You can add a custom logo if you wanted to. So it gives you the option to change. So I'm gonna go to change here and I'm gonna select this logo. I uploaded this in the images, right? So I got this logo. It's a PNG and it's there. And so let's see what it looks like. If I preview that, will it show my logo in here anywhere? I don't see my logo. Let me close that out. Let's go back here. I cancel. Let's save it. Let's see if I needed to save it for it to go. Oh, there it is. So we got the logo at the top left. So you can put your own ministry, your own business logo at the top of your player. So it's owned by you. All right, which is really cool. So you might have a conference or an event that had multiple meetings in it. You can put all those together here, and then you can make another playlist by going back out and you can add a new playlist, and this one could be another event, right? Maybe there's an event that you have every month, or maybe it's a whole series of conferences that happen that happen once a year, but you can group them all together as a playlist and have it be the last 5 years of the conference, or of the meeting, or the celebration, or whatever it may be. All right. So you got a lot of flexibility that is really cool for a ministry, especially if it's really cool if you have your own website. Let me put it that way. If you're just using YouTube and Facebook and you don't have a website for your ministry, you won't find a lot of benefit in this unless you're looking forward and saying, hey, this is what we want, right? There are some people that really prefer to have that set up to where they point people to their website, which I love the idea. And it, like I said, it allows for a distraction-free environment. And you know the people that are there, they're dedicated to seeing what you have to show and to share for them to see. All right. And then we also have the last option up here at the top is live events. The live event is pretty simple. You can go to create live event. You also have a 24/7 live stream event option, and it's in beta testing right now, but I can go create live event and it asks you to pick your source, right? So earlier we talked about these last two, right? The media videos that are like a simulated live event, the re-event, which is a pre-recorded one that you've already shared as a live event. You can select one of those and it'll take you to your library. But then you've also got these options for your YOLO box. So this is a YOLO box ASP, and then this is a YOLO box. This is a beta version of it, right? Which is another streaming, not process, but type or style. And then you got the RTMP or SR/SRT option as well. Okay. You would need to pick one of these, right? So I'll say that one. And it says, okay, pick your source. Now, earlier we talked about this when we picked our stream source. If I hit this drop down, you're going to notice they're all here. They're all the ones I've added. And if I didn't add one, I can add one now. So I already added OBS FreeShow, I added OBS, and I got this default one that was there by default when I first set this up. All right. And so you would pick that. So I would pick that one there. You would name your event. Now, if you've ever gone live on Facebook, YouTube, or anything like that, this is not unfamiliar to you, except for the fact that it's asking you, what do you want to pick from? Most of the time, you'll be picking your webcam, or you're doing it from a dedicated program like a ATEM switcher or something like that. I've got one over here, so I'm looking over, and it doesn't give you all this flexibility to have a RTMP and all that kind of stuff. It just gives you a breakdown of just different servers or platforms that you can use. But if you type in an event, so I'm gonna say test event, you would put in you can put in a description, and let's see here, describing, did I spell that right? Describing the event. All right. And then it asks you for the content type, right? This is where you kind of categorize it. So I'm going to say science and technology. And then you can put in your thumbnail, everything. Because remember, this is where you're going live from. Okay. This is what's sending the signal to YouTube. So it's going to tell YouTube, hey, here's the thumbnail, here's the title, here's the type, here's the description of this. And all that will be coming from YoloBot or YoloCast in this case. And then you determine if it's going to be public or password protected. And then you pick your destinations. This is where you would have logged into your YouTube or your Facebook accounts. And then you would pick one of those and hit save. And then you can set it up and be scheduled, or you can just hit create and you'll be able to go live in terms of being able to go to your live platform where you'll actually see your stats of how many people are on live, your signal strength, and all those kind of things, like you would see if you were streaming from YouTube directly or from Facebook or anything like that. All right. So that is a quick walkthrough of the settings that are basic settings to help you get started. All right. All right. So we've got to dive deeper into this special options that are available in YoloCast. And the first one here is YoloCut. If I select YoloCut, it brings me here and it gives you an option to do a new video, which I'll select. And then it opens up to this window here that looks like a video editing screen, but you've got to add a video. So you can go here to add video, and you also have the option to add audio. I'm going to select video, and I'm going to pick a video here. Let's see. We'll go with this one. And it loads up from the YoloCast server, which is pretty cool. So all of these files are not stored on your computer. These are stored remotely on the YoloCast server. And so I can hit this little plus sign and that drops it into my timeline. Now this is a 2-minute video, and notice in my timeline, it looks pretty large. Like it's quite a bit of stuff there. So what you can do is you can zoom in by hitting this plus sign on the right, and you'll see now, instead of it showing an hour's worth of stuff, you can just see a close up of your video. And I've only got like I said, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. I can see here, this is 2:30, and I can see the fullness of my video a lot better. I'm gonna zoom all the way out. You can see more. I'll bring it back just a bit. All right. So from here, you can select your video and you can trim the ends of it if you need to. So if you go to the end and you don't like the way it ends, you can drag over to the part that you want to test it out at. And let's see, I'm gonna pull it back just a little bit more. And I can see my time here. I'm at 2013. Drag this over. I can press play up there. And maybe I wanted to stop there. I can select this and I can pick this option that says split, and it splits that out, and I can select that and I can delete that piece out of my video, right? And to do that, you simply right click on it and you can hit delete. Now it gives you an option to move it up or down. So if I move it up, it moves it up to another layer or another video row, which we don't necessarily need to do. So when you select it, you can right click and hit delete, and it goes away and consolidates that. You can do that by selecting any part of your video. You can move your playhead to that part, select the video, hit the split option, and now you have two of those videos. With those two separate clips, now you can trim those clips by moving the red. You can drag this red bar over to the right or to the left. In this case, we can drag it and trim that clip quite a bit, and it keeps that gap there. It's a linear video editor, so you would have to drag it over, and you'll see a green line to show that they're connected. And so you can have this editing capability all within the network, or within the server, which is pretty cool because now you don't have to take up space on your computer. You can edit your files online after you've recorded them to the online server as well. So you've got a lot of flexibility here to do some quick edits and cut out pieces that you don't want pretty easily. And all I did was select the clip and then right click on it, and it gives you the option to just delete that. All right, so you can do some very basic editing, but the cool thing is that it's all done off your computer. This is not done on your hard drive. It's not taking up any space. And you do that, and then you simply hit save. And when you hit save, it asks you to rename it. And so I'm going to say edit profile video. And when I hit save, it says success. You can go back to the video list to review the videos you've edited. So I can say okay. And we can come out of this. I can go to YOLO Live, or I can go to YoloCut. When I select it, it's not doing anything, so maybe not. I have to go back out. So I will go back into my YOLO account, and you'll see the edited profile video there being generated. If I go to my media center, I don't think it shows up here. It's not done editing yet or saving, but I'm curious if it'll show up there. Now, while that's saving, you also have this option called the Overlay Lab. And the Overlay Lab is pretty cool. It gives you some customization to do some real broadcast type stuff in terms of approaching it. And so if you go into the Overlay Lab, it'll give you some options. You got your overlays library, my overlays, my compositions, and then this third-party graphic effects. I'm going to focus on overlays library for one, and this gives you an option of all these different templates that are already put into the system. All right, so you got this countdown, for example. You can say add that to my overlays, and I'll say add to my overlay. Once I do that, I can go over to my overlays, and then I can hit these three dots if I want to and say extract to composition. And when you do that, it gives you more options. So I'm gonna put this in, and I'm gonna put this as a general category, and we'll save it. And now I can go to my composition. So they all work together. When I go here, I can select the option to edit. And when you get that, you get the option now to edit this particular graphic. You can edit the background. You can change the image out, all that kind of stuff from the composition section, right? So if I wanted to, I can select this option that says change, and I can put in my logo there. So I can say replace it with my logo, and it stretches it to fit or to cover. I can turn it off, and it'll just fit just like that. All right. And then let's see here. For this, it gives me the option to manipulate it. And so I can drag it over to the right. I can drag it to the left. I can drag it up and down, whatever you need to do. And then for this, you can move it the same way. I can just select that 5 minutes. I can change the time frame of it. I can hit play uh, to make it play. I can pause it, reset it, all that kind of stuff from here. And then also change the text that's right above it. And positioning, you can adjust the positioning. So I can change the Y positioning here, and that changes the entirety of that. All right. And this is the actual timer and the title. So it's changing the entire countdown option here. I can change it from being bold. You can change the font. So you say, I just want it to be Roboto regular. Uh, and the text, shadow, you can add a shadow to it. It's on a black background already, so it's not going to be too visible unless I move it over. And so if I move it down here, let's see here, it's kind of cutting off in that space, which is interesting. I'm not sure what's causing it to be lost over there, but it's cut off for some reason. I'm guessing it has its own parameters that it lives in. And so if I pull that in and try to drag it over, it still gets cut off right there. Let's see here with the position and the width. So if I move this width out, you'll see it now be able to move over, and I can drag that down. It doesn't change the width, but it gives me some more flexibility to maneuver that. So down at the bottom, it dictates the width of the canvas, right? So you can change the width and the height of your canvas. And now I can actually move this uh, based on that width that I selected. And I can put this wherever I need. And notice the height is not very tall. I want it to be more. I can make this be taller. And we've got it that way. And I can shrink this back down, but I can move it down further as well. Okay. And so you can literally manipulate this however you want to. So I can put my timer in there, and I can put going live right above it. And I'll make that really small as well and put that right in there. And I could have something like that for the way that they've got it set up with your overlays. You have complete customization over it with the fonts and all that kind of stuff, the colors. So you can change the text color if you wanted to. Um, let's see, this is the title content. I can change that to be red, or I'm gonna go with orange to kind of match my signature here, right? And it shows up there. And then you also can change the font style to be italic if you wanted to. But you got all this customization. You can change the line height, all that kind of stuff, along with the timer details. You can change the color of the timer, obviously, along with the shadow on it and all that good stuff. All right. And so this is a really cool process. But if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. So I'm going to say save, right? So I'll save it, and it was saved successfully. And if we go, we can't go out. Oh yeah, we go. Okay, so I can click that and it goes out. So now I go to my overlays. Let's see here. My compositions. I don't see it there. Let's see if I go to my overlays and I open the control for it. So it still looks like that. Let's go back out. If we go to edit, it's here. It's saved, but it looks completely different. So if I go here, so I can make it new to my overlays. I can rename it, but it doesn't look the same. That's the weird part. So I can go here. Let's go to add to my overlays, and we'll say countdown GB Junior. And we'll change this to be that. And we'll say okay. Let me see what happens if I hit refresh. It still looks like that, which is interesting. And so if I go to overlays, my overlays, I'm sorry, I can go here and it brings me into my overlay that I just created. So you can rename it, you can save it and all that good stuff, and it will be there. If I go back out It's got the original here, and then I've got the one that I created. And so when you go to your overlays library, you can select an overlay by adding it to your overlays. If you want to have complete control over it, you can go to open controls from my overlays, and you'll see some ability to change things, right? So you can go here and it gives you the option to change it. You can go to countdown and gives you some options to change that stuff as well. You can go here to countdown ending message that shows up there as well. And it just says welcome, but you have some flexibility here, but you have more granular control um, on the other page, right? So on the compositions page, you can have more control over it. Here you can do some things like, for example, I can't drag and move this. I can move the position. Let's see if I can select it. So I can move where it goes there. I can change the width and all that kind of stuff, but I don't have the granular control to select individual pieces and separate them if I wanted to, and things like that. That's where you've got to go back out. And if we go here and we go to my compositions, and we can see here, I can go to edit that. And this is where you got a lot more control over your setup. So I can go to my title, for example, right? And you'll see the box there. I can separate this completely from it. I can say going live is going to be up here and maneuver that to be something like that, right? And bring it down just a bit to fit inside of that height. I've got the height fairly low, so I can make it be a little taller on the height there. And now I can, well, it still doesn't drag up. Let me see. Transform, here we go. Okay, so we got that there. I'm looking to see if there's a way to make it to where this is the control parameters for going live here. Let's see if I move that positioning. That moves everything up, which is fine. So I can move it up like that if I wanted to. And so I can shift the entire piece up and then still bring this down. But I made a lot of changes. So I can change this height to be there. And you can use this to modify it much smaller, more granular control there as well. But you can move this how you need to in the compositions with a lot more flexibility. That's the thing that makes this unique. You got a lot more flexibility than you do in your other platforms or other processes of it with the overlays only option. So if I go back out, I save that. And if I go back to my overlays, the same one I had before is here. So it looks the same. I have to go and I need to send that. So my compositions, I can now add it to my overlays. Okay. So I can go here and I can rename it and I'll say updated GB Junior countdown. And I can change this image if I wanted to. But I'll say, let's see, I'll say, okay. And then from here, let me go back. I wonder if there's a way. I don't think there's a way to capture it, but I go to my overlays and you'll see the updated GB Junior countdown here. And then you can open up the controls here to get it started and it's ready to go. All right. And you can copy that URL and you can go there and you can paste that in to another platform if you needed to. That's going to be a web-based process. But in this situation, everything lives here is the goal or the idea. And then you can move with your overlay in that way. All right. You can make things visible or invisible. You can make the background go away and bring it back up if you want to as well. All right. And so you got those options. Like I said, we've got this one here. I can make it cover or not in terms of it stretches out just a bit because I changed the width in the compositions page. So it doesn't fully go that far. All right. And let's go back out. So that's my overlays, my compositions. I'm going to go back in here real quick. I want to see what happened with the timer. And so bold. I'm trying to see how we can activate the timer to actually start. So progress bar type. I like that. So we can do a gradient. Let's see. I love that. So we can actually change the progress bar look. So we can do that. We can make it be a filled look to where it's completely filled in. And we also have the alternating. And that's a general look there as well. I think I like the gradient look the most. And you can see the way it looks there, and you can turn that and name it if you wanted to be something else. Or you can keep it off. So I can go to gradient and change that. And when you do the field, it gives you the option to change the colors of it and things like that. You can add a shadow or remove the shadow. But on the gradient, it doesn't give you that flexibility to change the color here. And I don't see any options for it there as well. And then for the title, it's there. That's fine. But yeah, for the timer, that is pretty cool. I really do like those options that we have. And I'm looking to see if there's a way to actually adjust and start. So I got the countdown ending text is here, but I didn't see a way to actually make the timer start. So I guess here it says control parameters. So if I hit play, it goes. And if I hit save, let's see what that does when I go back to YOLO and I export this. And I'll say GB Junior set to play. So I added that to my overlays. And if we go to open control, it shows up and it just immediately starts the countdown, which is what I want. But then I can also pause it here, reset it, and play it again. Okay. So you got the option here. I think I just overlooked the timer option there to see it play. All right. So this is a really cool feature. It gives you quite a bit of control if you want to have it. It feels more like a broadcast suite of things where everything is in its own space. So we got the left column here. We've got this middle column where it's kind of like the editing space. We got our output and our preview here, and we can make those changes. If you want to make unique changes, though, you've got to go to your composition. So for example, I can't get rid of that piece, this circular piece around it, unless I go back out and change the composition and then export that composition back out to my overlays. Okay. And that's important to understand, but you can change the order. So you can drag this and put the background on top if you wanted to, and I guess you can move the countdown over. So you can move the X position. Well, you can't move it too far. Like I said, you don't have that control. Let's see if we go minus. Won't let us go minus. You can change the Y position. That should make it go up and down. So you can do that. But like I said, we've moved it to where it's behind there. So I moved this countdown back on top of the background. You can see that there. And you can see those changes happen. And it goes with everything that's moving. So everything moves with the text here and the timer, unless you're going into your composition section to make those changes. So that's a really cool deal. I like that. It's not as intuitive as I like, but it's cool to know that it's there and it's a part of the suite. When you do get YoloCast, you've got this flexibility to make those kind of changes pretty pretty simply once you understand what's going on. And that's my goal, is to make this simple to understand for you to be able to use it however you want to. All right, so we've been exploring this idea of the special features of YoloCast. One of the coolest features about this is that it allows you to open up the option for donations on your own website through the videos, right? So I can go to my settings here and I can go up to preferences, and you got this option that says monetization, and you can turn on donations, and it defaults to Ko-fi. It defaults to the Ko-fi option, but you also can use other external sites, and you can enter your donation URL and then custom donation messages to your viewers, and you can save that, right? Um, and so I don't necessarily have one of these to work with, but let's see if I can just put in something. So let's do my own website, and I'll say, thank you for your donation. All right. I can't save. URL cannot be illegal. Let's do www dot. And I got the same option here. Let's see here. Link the donation site to an external site you trust. We prefer Ko-fi as there are no processing fees. Got it. bjunior.com. I wonder if I got to do a HTTP. Let's see here. Let's change this and let's go to GaryBJunior.com. Let's leave and let's see what happens if I copy this one out. And I've got a load of those windows open. Let me see where we were at for the preferences. All right, so let's see what happens if I paste it in from here. And then we hit save changes. And so you got to put that secured server in there, secured, domain. Step 2 is you would go into your live events. In this case, I've got one that's actually upcoming. I can hit this little edit icon, and then I've got to go over to the advanced options and select enable donate. And it automatically brings over my information, and it says thank you for your donation there, which is my message to the viewers, and it's got my domain there. Make sure it's a secure domain. And when I hit update, it says update success. And now when I go to make an embed, for example, I just did a simple player here. I can go down to the integration options and I can turn on collect donations. All right. I'll turn off the player logo. And if I want to preview that, I can hit the preview option. And it says the stream is not started yet. But when I scroll down, let's see here. There should be an embed option. Let me see. No player logo. Oh, I got to choose an event. So I select my event. And now there should be a preview option. Sorry about that. All right, so now when I go to preview embed, you can see that. And when I scroll down just a bit, you'll see a blue bar with a yellow donate button. All right. And you can make that link directly to where you want to get donations from, whether it's PayPal or Stripe or Ko-fi or whatever it is. You put that link there and it'll automatically take you there. I've got this one going directly to my website. So it can literally be any link you want as long as it's a secured link. All right. But that is how you would get your donation. So for you, your ministry, you can have this go directly to your website donation page, or maybe you're using a platform to accept your donations like Givelify or something like that. You can embed, or not embed, but put the link to make a donation right here from your settings. Going back, if you go to your settings page, you'll get to your preferences and you can put that Givelify link right here. All right. And then once you do that, when you start your new events, you can say create a live event. And when you do, you can select what it is here, pick your source, new event title is what I'm gonna call that. And all this stuff is negligible, not necessary, but this donation piece, it is necessary. So we'll select this and we'll select this. Now, if you don't want it to go to one of your YouTube or Facebook or whatever your accounts are, you can turn that to where, let's say I don't do that. Let's say I keep this off and I cancel it and there's no destination set. I can still create a live stream. And what it'll do is it will go to the YoloCast site to where you can actually embed that into your own website if you want to, or share that link with someone else. So this is my new event. I've then got to go to the edit event and select the option that says advanced. And I've got it set at default, and it actually kept on the donation button option. So I can update it. It's already there, just like it's here for this one. If I were to create a new event, let's do RTMP. We're going to say newer event. It should automatically have the same option. So if I say create, it's here. If I go to edit it to add in, and I go to the advanced, it's automatically open. So once you turn it on for one of your videos, it'll be active for all of them. You would need to manually go in and deactivate it for that one video. All right. And so if I turn this one off on my newer event and I hit update, I can go to this one, my new event title, look at my advanced settings, and it's still active. Okay. Now that is important to understand. If I go and create another one, I've already deactivated it on my last video. Okay. We do here, we'll go to OBS and we'll just say, oh, let me give it a name. I'm going to call this newest event and create. It shows up there. When I go to my settings to edit it, okay, and I go to advanced, it automatically populated it in there as well. So once you activate it and you enable it in your advanced settings on one of your events, it will automatically be there for all of your future events. This is important, especially if you've got multiple um, organizations that you work with and you're doing live streaming for them through YoloCast. You want to go in and make sure to change this for that individual event. All right, so I might put in here my documentaries page and I'll say update. All right. Now this one should not have that documentaries page. It's actually disabled. Okay. This one, let me go back out. This one here, when I go to edit the event, it should just have without the documentaries page, which is fine. And the other one the same way. But this newest event that I made, when you look at the advanced, it's going to a whole different site or a different page on my site. You can make it be a different page for someone else. If you're a business like myself, I'm a media consultant. So I could work with multiple churches or ministries or organizations, and they may want a different donation link. Obviously, they would to go to them, right? So this is how you would do that process. Hopefully it makes sense. Let me know in the comments if you've used this feature before or you've always wanted to use a feature like this. You just didn't know how. In YoloCast, it looks like it's a pretty easy option to activate and to use. All right, so let's talk about how you set up YoloCast in OBS. I'm sorry. So we're going to go into our settings here. And actually what I've done is I've actually gone and I've set up in OBS. I've got different profiles. So I've got the FreeShow recordings, I got practical camera, and then I've got a YoloCast. So I'm going to go to my YoloCast setup profile. The scenes and all that stuff are pretty much the same, but I'm gonna go to settings to give you an idea of what it takes to do this properly. So if I go to appearance, I didn't change anything there, but if you go to stream, you're going to see that I've copied and pasted in that stream URL server and the server stream key. Okay, that's in here already. And then the output settings are very specific, right? So I'm used to using a hardware encoder. I've got a Apple MacBook Pro M1 Pro 16-inch. So I've got a 16-inch laptop here, and what I'm used to doing is using that laptop to record. And with YoloCast, you have to make sure that you're using a video encoder that is X264, but it is not one of these, right? So I guess I could do a software encoder here, but I've seen that this one works the best, and it's just a generic one. And this is what they recommended. Like I said, I've sent several emails to the YoloCast team. And this is one of the biggest benefits of having a service like this that's different than using OBS only. And you're kind of left to your own devices and trying to figure out how to make it work. If you have support like YoloCast that you're paying for this particular service, they have a very strong support team that can really help you out and walk you through all the different steps you need to take. And this is literally what I relied on them for this process. Now, they recommended 1920 by 1080, but I tested it out at 4K and it worked fine on my computer. Your computer mileage may vary based on the processor and things like that. And then the rate control, they said to set it to CBR, which stands for constant bit rate. Then they got VBR, which is variable bit rate. And I don't know what the CRF and ABR are. If you know what those are, leave a note in the comments below. And then they got the bit rate. They said set that to 5 megabits or 5,000 kilobits per second. All right. And everything else, I didn't change anything there. Now, I did set some changes for my recording. I did pick a hardware encoder that is an Apple encoder that allows it to be used to record and stream at the same time, basically. And that's what I do a lot of. I'll be recording and live streaming sometimes. And so I wanted to still use my hardware encoder for that part of it. And I've got it set up to be a fragmented MOV, which basically allows it to be recorded no matter what. If anything stops, it's still going to be a completed file from the moment that it stopped or up to the moment that it stopped. All right. You can pick other options. You can pick fragmented MP4s. You can just do a regular QuickTime and things like that. But I do the fragmented MOV. And then you pick where it goes. And then I've got no other changes. I did change the bit rate here. So I changed it to be 12 megabits per second. And then the rate control is set to ABR. I'm not sure what that is. I would probably do CBR here as well and then change that to 12. If I go back to ABR, it gives me some other options here, so keyframe and all that kind of stuff. But I'll just do constant bit rate and keep it there at 12 kilobits per second, which is, or 12,000 kilobits is 12 megs. And then audio wise, I didn't make any changes there. But if you are not familiar with this, this is something that's important in your setup, is that I use my global audio devices, and I set up my mic auxiliary to be my main audio. And this is just auxiliary 1, right? And there's auxiliary 2 and 3 and 4 if you want it. If you have multiple inputs that you want to kind of blend in or mix in, you could do that with OBS, which is one of the things I love about it. And then I don't have any other settings down here that I've changed. These are all just kind of like hotkeys or shortcuts you could use. If you were going to use monitoring, you can do that. For the advanced section here, they got the monitoring device. You can set, if you've got headphones plugged up, I would probably use something like that. But typically it's going to default to the speakers of your computer. But like I said, if you're in a sound booth, you want it to be kind of plugged up and not, out loud, especially if your sound booth is not enclosed, right? If it's not separate from the ministry. Like I've been in a lot of churches, most of the churches I've been in is open space sound booth, to where we're in a dedicated space in the back, but there's no clear wall blocking us from everybody, okay? And then my video settings, they're just set to 4K. And that's pretty much it, all right? So then I go to OK. And when I hit start streaming here, so I can click this, and it's going to go to YoloCast, all right? So now it shows down here, my bit rate is at 5.1, 5.2 megs, and it's kind of hovering there. It's been 9 seconds, 11 seconds, and then it shows my CPU usage is at 17.8, around 18%, all right? If I go over and we look over at our stream sources, so OBS is my stream source. Notice here, I've got my OBS, and it's green. It's a green light there, all right? So now that I've got the green light, I've already copied all this stuff in there. You already saw that information. Now I can go over here and just say create live event. And from here, it already selected the RTMP SRT. It already selected my source because I picked it from my sources page. And then I can put in a test. So we can say, I'm gonna say live test. You can make up a description here. It doesn't have to be anything special, but it's something that you will definitely want to give some attention to. I'm gonna leave it blank for now. And then your content, like I said, you can select that there. And then you can pick your destination, all right? So for me, I'll select my YouTube account. I can check that box, and then I'm gonna make this be a private stream, and I'll hit save. And then I can pick a date if I wanted to, but for now, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna hit create, all right? And so now I've hit create, and I see my live test here. It's like a little card. I can select that card, and it takes me into that live stream. Now, I have not gone live, but I am streaming from OBS into my YoloCast account. So YoloCast has received the signal. It says it is connected, all right? In order for me to be on YouTube, you have to see this say connected as well. Right now, it says offline, and it says you can schedule it if you want to. But I'm just going to select go live up here at the top. And when you do that, it gives you a confirmation. So I'll hit go live again, and then you'll see it attempting to connect to YouTube. All right. And then down here, you'll see your bit rate, your frame rate, in terms of what you got shown. And then my frame rate should be somewhere around 29 or 30 frames per second. In this case, you see 29. And then up here, you can also see that 29 frames per second. And then the average bit rate and the real-time bit rate here as well, which is just around that 5 megs that we talked about. And it just kind of fluctuates, and it shows you real-time what's going on. All right. Now, once it's connected, you'll see it turn green, and it usually takes 20 to 30 seconds or so for it to connect and talk to YouTube. In my case, if you got to multiple destinations, it'll show a list of all those different destinations here, along with all the comments. So you can go to your comment sections for your live streams if you have them. And so for me, I went back, and it shows here, it says it is connected. It's highlighted green. So now I am live on YouTube, but it's a private live stream, but it's there. And I'm just recording and showing my screen, which is what I've got it set to in OBS. All right. And in here, you can see your overlay videos. It says select a highlight or advertisement video to overlay on the current live stream. It says after the video playback ends, it'll automatically return to the live stream. or you can manually return to the live stream yourself. It says, please note that the added video overlay will take effect after a 20-second delay. Remember, I told you that's about how long it took to connect. You're going to see coming from YoloCast about a 20-second delay going into YouTube. And you can add a video here if you wanted to play some type of overlay reel or whatever. If you added something to your media library, you'll be able to see it. And I can filter out and say uploaded videos, recorded videos, trim videos, or highlights. All right. And then I also have the option for the analytics, and it's showing you here how many people have viewed the particular live stream. And since this is private, I don't expect any, right? And then we've got the overlays that we've talked about in the past as well. So I can do image overlays or lower thirds. If I pick lower thirds here, it gives you a default list, right, of lower thirds. So I can select that, and I can put in, let's see, this is the title. So I can put in, Gary B. And then the subtitle, this would be media consultant. All right. And you can pick the colors and the size and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to just name this one GB Junior. And we'll hit save. All right. And so I've got that here. Now all I have to do is hit this little eyeball icon to show it. And when I do that, it automatically highlights a red box around it. And you're seeing the live here, and it's a 20-second delay. So in 20 seconds, you're going to see a pop-up of my lower thirds up there as well, which is really cool if you need to do something on the fly. Like I said, this is designed to allow you that flexibility, almost as if you're in a YOLO box yourself, but you've got to use some source service like your OBS or something like that if you don't have a YOLO box. And you'll see there's my name and my title, and I can actually hit delete, edit, and unshow. I can just hit that eyeball again, and the overlay stays in my menu here, but in 20 seconds, it's going to disappear from the live stream. All right. So everything you do it real time in terms of in-house, in terms of what the settings you need. And like I said, you'll see it a bit of a delay, but it's going to happen at the time that you clicked it. Okay. So if you select it when the person's coming up and you want to show their name, turn it on at the time that you see them coming up. It won't show up for 20 seconds, but that's not because it's delayed by 20 seconds by itself. The whole video is delayed by 20 seconds. So everything is going to show up properly. And then when you're ready to remove it, you will remove it at the time that you want to remove it, and it'll be removed at the right time on the live stream, and they'll be in sync. Okay. And that is basically the run through of how to set up your live stream using YoloCast. And this is using YoloCast without a YOLO box. Okay. I've been live, and then I also have these options here. They got some new options. It looks like, let's see, this one is not highlighting. Okay, here we go. If I hover over it, it shows you the backup stream. And you got this one that is the appearance settings, right? So I can select that, and we can adjust how it looks. And this is if you have it embedded or something like that, you can do that. And it's got an option to even show related events. You can show your branding. I've got it set right now to YOLO Live, but I want to show my custom logo, right? So I can put in my custom logo, go back here, hit done. And this is not going to show up as a part of YouTube in that way, but it's something that is going to show up if you've got it embedded anywhere. All right. And then it's got the player logo. So I can turn that off, or I can turn that back on. All right. It's completely up to you for the player logo. And I believe, let me see, let me pull that off. And that's the part over here that showed YOLO Live over there. So if I go back, or YOLO Live, you'll see YOLO Live in the bottom right corner here. You can activate or deactivate that with the business account. And that allows you to have complete control over how it looks. And then you just simply hit save. All right. And now this is what your audience is going to see. And you even have more options here. This one allows you to promote the event by just copying it, and then you can share it, right? You can send it out in an email or something like that. And you also get the embed code as well, along with the option here. This one gives you to view it on YoloCast. And remember, YoloCast is kind of like your host. It's the middleman or the go-between that's actually streaming the video to wherever you want. So it's streaming on YoloCast, and YoloCast is sending it to YouTube, or YoloCast is sending it to Facebook for you at the same time that it's streaming on its own platform. All right. So you've got a lot of cool options here. If you are working to develop a ministry, you've already got a website, this is an unbelievable option for you that gives you a lot of flexibility where you can actually customize your own player that's embedded for your organization, your business, your ministry. And for those who are watching, they can literally just see that and not be distracted by any other videos or ads or anything like that throughout your video. So leave some questions in the comments below. Let me know what you think about using YoloCast. Have you thought about using it before? Have you ever tried using it before? And if so, what is your favorite feature that I've discussed with you today? All right. Have a great rest of the day.